Hey, paisans, the time has come. On the air since 2009, the independently produced, non-FCC compliant champ of video game talk podcasting. Here comes Tiger Claw Radio. Here's your host, Critical Failure.
Welcome everybody to Tiger Claw Radio. I'm your host, Critical Failure. It's that time again. Yes, friends. We're going to listen to some chiptunes, and we're going to play some video games and do the works. And as always, we're going to go back to the top 40 of the 8-Bit Collective as selected by Hemrock. We've been counting them down over the past several months, and now we are on number 10. We are in the top 10, and the 10th track from our Auma Boy is called Our Lights. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. More when we come back. That one rings a bell. I think in my personal folder from the 8-Bit Collective, I think I have that song. And I think very few of the tracks on the top 40 I've actually come across already. But that's one of them. When that first came out, I saved a copy, and I still have it to this day. Good track. Heck of a good track. All right. So the big thing that's going on right now, Hemrock pointed out over on the Failbag channel, the folks behind the Evercade have made something called the Evercade Hyper Megatech Super Pocket, which is essentially a Game Boy Pocket-sized Evercade. Runs the cartridges and everything. Pretty cool stuff. He posted a video about it on Discord. What's the guy's name? John something. I suddenly can't remember the guy who talked about it. But yeah, if you're an Evercade user, this looks really cool. Particularly because they're charging $60 for it, which makes it the cheapest entry to Evercade. So the bar of entry has now dropped. $60 for this machine to get a little Game Boy version, and then $20 for, a new cartridge. And there you go. $80 and you're in. And then you play that for a while, then it might be a little bit easier to get the console for $100 rather than, getting a $120 buy-in. So that's really cool. Evercade has made some cool cartridges. I'm glad somebody's still making cartridges. I really like what they're doing. So check that out. There's links over on the Discord in the Failbag section. He also posted a couple things last week that I don't think I mentioned. Does anyone remember Enclave for the original Xbox? Well, they remastered it and just released it this past week. So it had been like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I know of Enclave, but not from the original Xbox. I know it from the Steam sales. Because at least at one time, I don't know if it still does, but Enclave went down to 99 cents in a Steam sale. And I picked it up on a recommendation, and it has been sitting in my library unplayed for... Let's see if I can figure out how long it's been unplayed. Doesn't say. It only says the last time I played it, and since I haven't ran it, we'll never know. At least 5 years. 5 years easy. It's the morning after the Steam summer sale. And I spent the morning playing idle games. That's how you know it was a good sale. Played Territory Idol, Underworld Idol, Cookie Clicker, and NGO Idol. Ran all 4 of those this morning. I did get some things during the sale, but I don't know. One program I've really been into over the past couple weeks is a program called Decent Icons 2. Oh, excuse me. It's off of Steam, but it's a utility. And what it does is it opens a launcher, that just sits on your desktop. And the icons that you add to it are variable size, and you can use random JPEGs, for the icons themselves. And that's it. That's really all it is. So I have several games lined up with icons that wouldn't really fit using the regular icon size because they're elongated, right? Like I have Quake 3 Arena with its original box art as opposed to an icon, that sort of thing. So that's been a neat way to launch my games, and that, even without the sale, I think is like $1, maybe $3 or something. The only thing that's weird about it is it's a launcher, so it just stays open all the time. But it's also considered a Steam program. So I've had this thing for like a couple weeks, maybe, and we're at 136 hours. So I don't know. If you care about your Steam profile showing which game is the most played, I don't know, then it might not be a good idea. Or it would be really good if you could buy it not off of Steam. Let me see if that's a thing. Hang on. No, it isn't. It's exclusively a Steam program, which sucks. This would be like... Very rarely do I ever set a program to launch when Windows starts. But this one I would do that for. If I could get it outside of Steam. And that is $2.99 regular price. And it looks like Kinguin has a key for $1.16. So, not at all an expensive program. So I did get a few games like last minute. I think the sale ended quicker than I thought it was going to. So one of the games I really wanted to get, but didn't, was House of the Dead Remake, which went down to just under $10. It's an expensive game. Usually when it goes on sale, the sale price is like $13 if you're lucky. So that was kind of a bummer, especially since I got Typing of the Dead last year. And once I found out that Typing of the Dead had a regular mode that just let you use the mouse, I ended up having a ton of fun with it. So that was kind of a bummer that I didn't get that, but that's okay. I did end up getting Risk of Rain, the original Risk of Rain, which looks fun. Draft Day Sports College Football 2018 I picked up because I like my sports management games. I picked up a game called Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which just looks like a random anime fighter, but it went down to $1.99 from its usual price of $20. So you don't see those 90% discounts anymore on Steam, so I thought I'd give it a try. And I'm missing one. Hold on. Galgun 2. I bought as well. Because I'm a terrible person, I guess. I don't know. And there you go. So all those together ended up being like, I don't know, $7 for all of that. Oh, and I also got excuse me. Oh gosh. Oh. I did end up getting the Dungeons and Dragons Silver Box Classics pack on Steam for $6.50 or whatever it is. But I haven't actually played it yet. I ran it to make sure it worked, but I didn't dig into the games and start playing. I like the launcher that, and I know I've said this on the air before, but the way the newer D&D classic games did their launcher, I think is really, really nice. And I bought all the gold box games and stuff for the most part. I'm missing a couple, but yeah, it just opens that same gold box launcher, and it shows up right under Forgotten Realms Archives 3 that has Dungeon Hack and Mensa Berenzin in it. And yeah, it's good times in the making. I'm interested in playing Heroes of the Lance because I think that has an NES game, and with a really terrible NES port. And I remember playing the NES game and just going what is this? All I could get it to do was... If you think of a traditional Dungeons & Dragons topographical map, right? With your hex crawl, and you click on a destination, and you would travel there by horse. And there was I assume it was a mini game where your character would ride the horse and you'd jump over things, but that's all I could get it to do. So for me, it was Horsey Riding Simulator, NES edition. So we'll see how it is on the PC. All right, let's shift topics a little bit, okay? This is something that happened a couple weeks back, but I don't think I talked about it here in the air. The EU made a wonderful decision recently that's worth talking about on a games and technology podcast. The EU voted that smartphones have to have user replaceable batteries by 2027. It's a few years off, but cell phone companies have to put batteries that we can replace in them again. The last phone that I had that had a battery you could replace was the i5, Samsung S5, excuse me, and that was a wonderful phone. And here's why this is a big deal, because as the batteries in phones decline, the phones become less stable, right? When the batteries can no longer handle the processing power, the phones start to crash, right? If you have a phone just randomly reset, that's what's happening. So what they do is, over time, they roll out updates which reduce the processing power to match the declining battery. So the battery's declining over time. Your phone is actually getting slower, and it's the kingpin part of planned obsolescence. It really is, because with my old S5, I replaced that battery 5-6 years later, and even though it's not my phone anymore, that I used to make calls, I can still pull that thing out, and my kids can use it as a camera, and it can run some games and stuff. That thing is still going strong because of this battery issue. So my hat is off to the EU in a big way, and I really hope that we see this take some kind of effect in the United States. Even if we don't have the regulation, I hope the companies end up releasing those model phones over here. Because, user replaceable batteries will be a wonderful thing for the consumer. It really will. All right, boys and girls, we're at just about at the 15-minute mark. It's a little early, but this is around the time I like to thank the Patreon sponsors. It's a Patreon-sponsored program. They give of their resources to make sure we keep coming back every week with very little in return apart from the podcast. I read their names off in a hall of distinguished gentlemen, and they are EmeraldRangers.com, who made the deal to bring us back on the air. We've got Hemrock, we've got Tecmo Balls, And that's it, those 4 guys. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate your support, and I hope you're enjoying the party. 2 sites I've been using quite a bit over the last 2 weeks is Mastodon and Lemmy.world. Mastodon being the decentralized version of Twitter, and Lemmy.world being the decentralized version of Reddit. And it occurred to me why I like both of these sites so much. Because you know what they don't do? They don't do that thing where it's like, oh, we've curated a feed for you. Neither one of these sites have this. Specifically, Lemmy.world, I think, is amazing for this. There's when I open the page, the feed consists of what is taken from the sites, the groups that I have actually subscribed to. And it's the same thing with Mastodon. And I can't say enough good things about both sites for that reason. At first, it's a little jarring, more so with Mastodon, how much smaller the user base is. Like, I'll give you an example. On Twitter, I was able to, grow my record label just on Twitter, Community Modular and Electronic. And all I did was, I tweeted people who were making music. And I was just like, hey, man, this is what I'm doing. Do you want to be a part of it? And I was tweeting out what I was doing to people who were listening to music, and I was able to grow it that way. Those same people aren't on Mastodon. So I haven't found a place there. But, specifically, over the last month, I've been back into tabletop role-playing again. And there's a wonderful group of people on Mastodon for that, for sure. Particularly artists, which has been really cool to be able to experience that in a decentralized way where I'm not seeing things pushed in front of me that I don't want to see. So I know this isn't much of a regular technology type podcast, but especially since when it comes to Twitter and Reddit in particular, those 2 sites keep coming up over and over again, just with drama from the ridiculous people who run them. It's I'm tired of hearing about it's reaching a point where those names sort of make my skin crawl, and it feels really, really good to get away from that. So I don't know, give them a try. So my comfort game recently has 3, not the HD remake, which I probably should get at some point, but it went down to $10 and I opted out. Just the plain old Saints Row 3. Oh, hang on. And I loaded that up yesterday, and I had a block of time yesterday, so I played Saints Row 3, and I got there's an item that you can get, or an ability you can get late in the game, where all of the collectibles become marked on the map. Well, I got that item. All the collectibles popped up, so I went back to the base, got an aircraft of some kind, and I went all around the map collecting all these collectibles just for fun. I was talking on the phone with people doing business at the time. I was taking care of other things, and I just did this task, and it took a long time. And when it was all done, I got a really rare achievement in Saints Row the Third, which is kind of a hollow victory because Saints Row the Third has a broken achievement, so you can't 100% it. But be that as it may, rare achievement, collected all the collectibles. And after I got that, the game froze, and I lost my save. I didn't lose my save entirely, but the last time I had saved was before I went and collected all the collectibles. So my save doesn't have that anymore. And, I got the achievement, so you can see it in my profile that I got the achievement, which is what I was after, I guess. But, yeah, that I haven't lost a save of that magnitude in a long time. It's been a while, and I gotta say that one hurt. It hurt to the point where I think I'm ready to put that game. I'm ready to put that game aside again for a while and move on to other things. I think I originally picked it up because Oop, am I peaking? Am I peaking? There we go. It's hard for me to get these levels right. My gain knob is like ultra sensitive because it's a really cheap interface. But anyway, I wanted to get it to the threshold of having played 100 hours because for some reason that 100-hour threshold on Steam has always been like an important milestone for me. Because really, that's the thing that keeps me coming back to Steam is the reporting on how long I've played everything. The second, like, I get a nice local launcher that has control over that, you know, where I can go in and mess with things. The second I get remember that program I was talking about earlier, Decent Icons 3 or Decent Icons 2, which is just like a game launcher. If Decent Icons 2 itself tracked how long you played every game, including non-Steam games, and you could go in and adjust those numbers, man, I'd never use Steam again. I'd never use Steam again, because I'd take a non-Steam game like Saints Row 3 or whatever, and I would adjust it to match how much Steam time I have, which is just over 100 hours right now. It's like 103 hours. And then it would go from there, and then it would just keep track of my time that way. But then right next to it, I'd have like Angband, which is not at all a Steam game, and be able to keep track of my Angband time. There was a program called Raptor, which tried to do something like that. But you really didn't have control over what your time was set at. Like, you couldn't adjust things to match. If you were, say, introducing a game you've already played a bunch on another platform, you couldn't really adjust that time. And it eventually went belly up, but just a localized program, not even any kind of social networking, anything like that. And I know I've said this before, but that is the thing that Steam provides that no other site does quite as well. It's really the report, the button that I can click on that says recently played, shows me what I've played last 2 weeks, and then I can click on all games, at least for now, and it'll show me my top. You know, I think it's top 50 or whatever. That's the thing that they do really well. And my buddy Alex Swingle, with however many thousands of games he has, he's reached a point where he can no longer click on all games because it'll just crash. Steam will crash because it can't handle it. And I think once it's reached that point, you know, that is the one feature that Steam is providing that I'm like, that keeps me coming back. So, yeah. Oh, wait. Hold on, Alex. First of all, interestingly enough, Alex Swingle, and I hope you don't mind me picking apart your profile a little bit, 6,117 games when you open up his game list. But then the profile says 5,742. So it's a lot, but I think it's one of those things where certain utilities aren't being counted as games. But yeah, it's working now, dude. For years, he used to joke about how it was like the Steam profile challenge. All you have to do is load my game list. And it would it's like really good computers would try this, and it would just totally cripple them, which is hilarious to me. But now, like, I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest, that it just loaded right up and I can see his most played games. I'll have to talk to him about this. I'm not sure if he's aware of that yet. Would be nice to talk to him again today. We were playing that simple marble racing game. Gosh, what was that called? Fling something? Fling to the Finish. Which I don't know what it is about this game. I'll never remember the name, but it's just a simple marble rolling game. But there's two marbles and they're tied together with a string, and that's the gimmick, making it, you know, a pretty fun co-op game where you have to, you know, communicate and stuff. Pretty fun game. Pretty, like, I want to say unique, but I'm almost like shy to say it's unique because nothing's unique anymore. But a pretty interesting take on the marble roller. So, yeah, props to Swingle for finding that one. That one dropped down to, it was like a little under $5, but he had picked it up ages ago from the Bundleverse, so it's been cheap for a while. All right. So I paused the old recording for a bit, and I went over to Mastodon because we talked about Mastodon earlier. And I went to the SID sound chip bot that's constantly posting SID sound chip tunes from the Commodore 64, and I picked out the latest one. Good track. Saved a copy of it as on my desktop as an MP4 because remember it's a video file. Loaded it up in VLC. And I tried to convert it, and that ended up being a mistake because now VLC is stuck in an infinite loop. And I think the only way to get out of it... no, never mind, I'm out. I thought I was going to have to reboot. And so I guess we're set. I'm still working on a solid way to play chiptunes from Mastodon because I've been enjoying the stuff that gets posted there quite a bit. All right, I just tried it again, and I think I got stuck again, but I think I did get the output file. I'm not going to be able to do this continually every week, but let's try it now and see if it works. Nope, that didn't work at all. Ouch. All right, where does that leave us? Did I play... Oh, jeez, I can't even see my desktop now. Yeah, this is bad. Okay. Good times indeed. Okay, because I'm determined to play some Commodore 64 sound chip action, I jumped over to BattleOfTheBits.com, mind you, because last I heard, BattleOfTheBits.org, they lost control of their domain. The site's still around, but .org doesn't do it anymore. Let me see if they fixed that. BattleOfTheBits.org. Yeah, .org. No, they got it back. Well, good old Battle of the Bits. Anyway... they are currently collecting entries for Summer Chip 13. So I went to see what entries there were, and lo and behold, peppy little SID sound chip bit. This is from Squarewave. Okay, great. Called Battle of the Heats. Okay, you're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. I gotta say, I was taking a look at this Enclave game that we talked about earlier over on Steam. I went over to the store page to see what it looks like. I gotta say, nice looking little game, especially for the original Xbox era. Nice hack and slashy, looks very Dungeons and Dragonsy, which is a vibe I've really been into over the past month or so. I might just have to install this and give it a try this week. We will see. Good looking. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me a little bit of Death Trap Dungeon, but done a little bit better. More what Death Trap Dungeon wanted to be or tried to be. Very cool. Yeah. So again, I got that for 99 cents years ago, but even now, regular price is $4.99. For now, it's $4.99. Hamrock mentioned they remade it, and I know in a lot of cases when they do HD versions and they remaster things, the original versions just sort of go away. So I don't know if that's going to happen here, but it's a possibility. It's a distinct possibility. So we shall see. All right, well, we're about 30 minutes in. It's a little bit early, but we don't have any comments from last week except for Hamrock giving us the heads up about the new Evercade gear. Nothing going on in the comments section over at emeraldrangers.com. So we're going to call that it. Well, boys and girls, it's been another week here on TCR. We've laughed, we've cried, listened to some Sid sound chip music. Good times. This coming week, I hope you take a little time to set aside and play some games. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week.